What's up, guys? Bryce and Michael RC here. We have another Cosplay Thursday for you guys today. This one does not have a DIY process video for it, only because I've done one exactly like it prior, and it's basically the same thing, it's just painted different. In fact, it's all done exactly the same, it's just painted different. So, we have the Iron Patriot here that we did a couple weeks ago, and because of the Iron Patriot, I just had to do the Iron Man. So today's about the Iron Man. But one thing before we get into the Iron Man, I will tell you guys that I didn't get the eyes finished because I'm going to be doing a separate video on just the eyes alone, just the eye part of the Iron Man alone. And I'm trying to figure out the best way to do Iron Man eyes with basic typical stuff that you can find in a small town like this without having to order a whole bunch of stuff offline, because I could go and order the Iron Man eyes, and then I know how to bend the acrylic and stuff. I broke the last ones, but I know how to do it. I could just go and order those, but I don't want to, because I plan on making another one, and so I want to make them in kind of the cheapest way possible, and they're like $26 for Iron Man eyes or something like that. So don't want to do that. So, like, I've been kind of fiddling around. I bought these 5800 milliamp rechargeable batteries here. They're not AA, and then a whole bunch of these battery packs so I can make all sorts of stuff with LEDs. Plus I bought a whole bunch of LEDs online, so I want to do some stuff myself with the LEDs. I bought white ones, blue ones, green ones. In fact, I'm working on the ether box right now from Thor: The Dark World, and I've got one of these hooked up to a whole bunch of red LEDs in that, and it looks phenomenal. But right now I've got this hooked up to the end of it. I'm just trying some different stuff in here. I've got a screen from it's like a window screen, but it's a plastic window screen that you can get from Walmart, and I painted it white. Then I stuck it in between two 99-cent plastic. It goes inside of a folder. It's like a folder thing that you can put stuff in. You can get them at Walmart for like $1. Cut that up and then put some foam in with it and stuff, and I've got it close to how I want it, and you can see out of it perfectly. That was one of the things about the Iron Man eyes that you order offline. Once you turn the lights on, you can't really see out of it at all. And I'm trying to figure out something where you can still see out of it pretty good, and it still lights it up. And that's the point of the white grid with the white LEDs, is it shines off the white grid, but it still has big enough openings and stuff in it so you can still see through it perfectly. I mean, I can see through this fine. So this is a pretty big. This isn't an eye, but this is kind of just the materials together that I was trying to figure out. There's 3 LEDs here and 2 LEDs here. So that'll be in a separate video. I'm gonna make this smaller and make them 2. Probably won't use 5 LEDs. Probably only use 6 altogether. 3 per eye thing. I think that's all it's gonna take. So I think I pretty much got it narrowed down to how I want it. It just depends on the way that you bend it to, the light reflects off of it differently. So there's all sorts of different stuff that I can do with this, and I think this is the best way to do it. And I've watched everybody's videos online on how to make the Iron Man eyes, and everybody, you know, loads up the bottom with LEDs, or the bottom and the top with LEDs, and it's just the LEDs can be so bright you can't see out of it too. I seen the guy from X Robots made one with a screen behind. That's where I got the screen idea. Minimal LEDs is what I'm trying to go with to run off of this. This thing has a short in it. It kind of, you can just pull the end of the wire out. So that shows you how much care I had for putting this together, because it's just a prototype. So that's what I'm working on for that. I wanted to tell you that before getting the helmet out and then having a comment saying, "Where's the LED eyes at? How come you haven't made the because I'm working on it. I've got it to where it would work, it would look good and all that different stuff, but I want to have good visibility so you can leave the light on the entire time. And those batteries are pretty legit, and they light up the LEDs for a long period of time, so you could go to an actual Comic-Con if you wanted to do the way that I'm planning on doing it, and you could probably be there all day. And then they're rechargeable. They come with these little rechargeable things. They're super cheap. I'll put a link in the description for them if you guys want to order them. I'll leave a link in the description for the little battery pack things with the wires coming out. You can get like 5 of them for super cheap. And then the batteries themselves come 2 with a rechargeable thing, and they just pop on and recharge to a regular socket. It's pretty cool. So, and they don't take forever to recharge either. They're really legit. To the video, got to move my Michael Jackson 3D printed statue real quick. Here is my Iron Man Mark III helmet. Right here. Give you an all-around look at my Mark III. 3D printed. I'll leave a link in the description for this. I wanted to start with the Mark III because it's like the first red Iron Man from the Iron Man movies, and I'm planning on doing the new, I think it's Mark 50 from Infinity Wars. I'm planning on 3D printing that one once I get a box built around my 3D printer and can use ABS on it. So I wanted to start with the Mark III since I'm going to go ahead and print that one eventually. And I'm not a huge fan of the Mark III. I'm not a huge fan of the big circles here and stuff. I like it when they finally get the kind of like the Iron Patriot. How the Iron Patriot has the sides that look like that. I like that a little bit better. Plus the Iron Patriot has a little bit more design on the front of it. But of course it's going to get better as it goes. This helmet here is used in several movies. In fact, I think it's used in all Iron Man 1, 2, and 3 solo movies. They use a type of this helmet for every suit. It seems like the suit constantly changes, but the helmet only has small, minor changes to it. That's kind of one of the other big reasons why I did this. This thing was super simple to put together. If you watch the process video for the Iron Patriot, I did it exactly the same. The helmet pops off exactly the same. It's got the magnets up here, and then it's got single magnets down here and then dual magnets up here, just like the other helmet does. The other helmet has them on the sides, but I really didn't want to put them there, but I had ended up putting that. I had to build the saddle for the other one for the face mask, so I had to put them over here on the side, but this one I didn't have to build the saddle. It already came with a little side part to it, so I was able to put the magnets up here. I had to build this part in the Iron Patriot, that little black part there, but this one already comes with it in the print. One thing that I did have to do that was different from the Iron Patriot that I did do differently is on this one I actually used the Bondo, flexible Bondo stuff, and I built the sides up to the mask to where there would be almost like a seamless transition from the mask. There was a gigantic gap here and a gigantic gap here from the original print, and I ended up building that up on both sides, and up top right here, because there was a gigantic gap here, to look good. And you guys can see that through right here. You can see how deep this goes all the way up to about there, and then the rest of that was dremeled in because the Bondo's about right here, and then up here at the top, that's dremeled in right there in the front, but I think I got real close to it. Now this up here has some detail in it. It's got like an inside line that goes to it, but I wasn't really worried about that because I think what I'm going to eventually do once I learn how to do it, unlike the Iron Patriot, this one, the top part here is underneath the helmet, so you can see how it sets down into the helmet. So this one you can actually get the mechanics to put that thing in that makes it go up and down, and I want to do that. And I watched the X-Robots video, and he runs the two levers right here along these lines, and it seems so much easier just to drill that out and then put those levers in that go from here up to the mask, and then when it lifts up it pulls it all the way back. So that's what I want to do with this. So I didn't really worry about doing too much in here. You can see if you get real close that it's not really that sanded out or anything. It's just I just kind of left it alone because I'm going to eventually have to go in there and drill that out anyways. So one of the mistakes that I did make on this, make sure that if you are building this, the one that's going to be linked in the description, make sure that if you're building that when you put the face part together, and this is awesome, they split it up into a few different prints, and I ended up going in there and splitting those up even more, except for on the face mask part, it prints the jaw and the bottom part of the mask on one and the top part of the mask on another, and then it's connected. You can see in here It's connected by this these points here, here, and there. But what I accidentally did wrong was it has a little indentation in each part. You can see kind of how it goes up and then over and then up. Well, that's because that line right there that's indented goes all the way down and meets up with the mask and goes here and straight across. So what I ended up having to do is painting on that line that's in the original mask. I ended up taping it off and painting that line on there. But if you put the mask together right, this should actually go up a little bit, and then there would be a little indentation here. I thought it was a lip to glue it, to help the glue stay when I first put it together. So I took that indentation and I kind of just put it along the back side of the bottom part of the mask, and then I took Bondo and I went over and smoothed it like crazy. And it wasn't until I was working on this and kind of looking at some pictures and I realized that that should have been glued together differently. And that's probably why there was such a huge gap here, up here in the top, because the mask is supposed to be this much taller. The gap between here, this was supposed to go up just that much taller. And so the gap here along these edges and along these edges probably wouldn't have been there had I initially glued the mask together right. So that's a step that you won't have to take if you glue this together right. If you do the mask right, you won't have to do the Bondo. So that's initially why I was going to explain that in this video. You may say, why didn't you show us the bonding part? Because you didn't have to do that to the Iron Patriot. And that's kind of the reason behind it, is because if you do this right, you won't have to do that either. So I may show you guys on another one. I really enjoy making these Iron Man masks. This is one thing I really didn't think that I would enjoy this much, because I'm not the biggest Iron Man fan. Iron Man is so huge and he's in almost every movie. You know, he's in the Civil War movie and the Spider-Man Homecoming movie. He's got his own 3 movies, and then he's in all the Avengers movies. He's like the most used, he's like the Batman of the MCU basically. And so I kind of got wore out on Iron Man after the 3 Iron Man movies came out. And then he was in Avengers, and then after a while I just got kind of, how many times can you redo a suit? How many times can you do this? And I will say that the MCU's been keeping up with upgrading his suit from, you know, the regular metal armor that he used to kind of have robots to put on, to where he could just, you know, land on his tower, and then he would just walk and they would take it off of him, to the suitcase that he put on, to the bleeding edge armor that he has now. They have really kept up with keeping that part of Iron Man interesting on the different suits and stuff like that. So that's in itself has been amazing. I just haven't been the biggest fan. But after building this and the Iron Patriot both, I really enjoy these Iron Man helmets. I do. They're so much fun to do. They have, you know, the front that comes off. I heated up the bottom of it with a heat gun and kind of pulled it out a little bit. That way I didn't have to. This comes as a separate piece. This bottom piece here comes as a separate piece, and that way you can use magnets or something and take that off and put it back on if you want to. And that's what a lot of people typically do. That way this stays thin down here and you pop that on to get the helmet on. But I didn't want so many moving pieces. I just kind of opened up the bottom a little bit more and glued that together, used heat since it's PLA, and pulled it you have to be so tender with it so you don't break it. I used heat to kind of pull it apart. Then I made this the only part that I had to make removable, that I had to take off of it. So I was going to make this like brand new, but it's sitting up next to my Iron Patriot, so I decided to do kind of the same thing. If you look at a lot of Iron Man stuff, this was kind of my reasoning behind it. If you look at Hasbro, I think it's Hasbro, or if you look at the Iron Man toys, they actually sell this helmet. You can buy this helmet from an official toy place, that the lights come on, that it makes sounds and stuff. It's like $100. It's got padding in it and stuff like that. You can buy a professional Iron Man helmet for like $100. So it's not hard to get your hands on one of these. So I didn't want to make one that was an exact replica of a toy that you can go out and buy. I kind of just wanted to make my own unique helmet. And so I went ahead and I went in and I was thinking about doing that whole, you know, where the whole side of it was trashed and stuff in that one movie. There's tons of pictures online of it. It's real weathered, but then I decided to do something between that and new. It looked beautiful, brand new, and of when it got done, when it looked brand new, when the gold looked perfect and the black looked perfect. But I went ahead and I put like a Kylo Ren X on the back of it. I kind of wanted to make it to where my helmets kind of coincided with each other. You know, you can look on this one and look on that one. They both have a X on the back of it. I don't know, it was just something pretty cool. And I put the deep gouges in it with the Dremel, just like I did with the Iron Patriot. Deep gouges, so they're real pronounced. Really looks like it's been in a fight. You can kind of see where the bolt is up here. This thing has a bolt here, a bolt there, here, and here. But I didn't really like those because the 3D printed version of them didn't look that good. Here you can still see that one pretty good. So that's where I'm going to use those spots whenever I put the movable mechanics into it. When I do that whole thing, I'm going to use those here to hook that lever up. And then I might use these side ones to hook to it too. So I think that this is going to eventually have those in it. So I went ahead and just smoothed them over, put Bondo on them and everything for now. And I think it looks better like this. I know it's not 100% replica. It's not 100% Iron Man Mark III without them. But I wish I would have did. When I separated this piece, I went and took those out. And so it just created the hole. Instead of the hole with the inside nut looking thing in it. When you finally get it printed out, it puts the supports in it, and the supports are almost, you just can't get them out. When things are so close together, there's some points where you just can't get it out. And so instead of getting just some cruddy looking bolts up here, I just went ahead and smoothed them over and made the whole thing look really good. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed that. That is my Iron Man. Like I said, I'm going to be doing an Iron Man eyes thing. But this right here, these videos on Thursdays are all about the print. Just showing you what your print's going to look like. The mechanics on some of them, when I put lights in them and stuff in them, that's just kind of extra that you can do to it. But I really want to show you guys the prints and what the prints can look like. And this is supposed to be all about the prints. So this is what your print could look like, basically, and what you could do to it. So that's kind of what it would look like. Oh, that looks pretty legit. Inside here, it really reflects the... that looks good. That may be where it's at, folks. May have just figured it out. Doesn't that look good? Yeah. Iron Man eyes coming to you here in a second. I may make that this evening, or maybe tomorrow, or this weekend or something. That looks good. That looks really good in the helmet. So I gotta make 4 of them for all the 2 for the Iron Man and the 2 for the Iron Patriot. So I think that may be the direction I go with it, guys. This prototype may be perfect. Take the tape all off of it and make them small enough to fit in. So well, there we go. It kind of falls forward. I need to put some padding in the back to kind of hold it to here. But this is half the reason why I don't do the back thing, and I just make it a little bit bigger. To me, it seems like it looks tighter around my face, and I kind of dig that. So, but when the face mask goes on it, watch, I can leave it here. But as soon as I put the face mask, I gotta make sure it doesn't catch my beard, because it does every now and then. Put the face mask on, and my helmet will fall. So that's the Iron Man mask, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. I apologize for not putting out a process video, but I've been playing videos up here of the whole process. It's the exact same thing as the Iron Patriot, like I said. So there wasn't really any point in doing it. If you guys want to know how to build this, it's the same thing. it's just easier because you only have to tape up the chin part of the helmet. The rest of it is red, and then it's black on the inside there. And then I just painted like the inside of this stuff black, so you can't really see the magnets that are on here. When I just hold it up like that, you can't really tell. You know, that one was harder. Had to tape it up so much more than I had to tape this one up. So that one actually, if you want to know how to build this, check out that video. Anyways, my name is Bryson Michael RC. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Thanks for stopping by. Hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button, leave me a comment. We'll see you guys next Thursday with the Boba Fett. The Boba Fett.